when it comes to Disney folks. So we're gonna jump right into this whole conversation. Okay, so number one, joining the House of Mouse. Disney is such a powerful, huge, impactful entertainment company. Was it daunting to be a part of that franchise or that family?
Oh yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
was 8 years old when I got the role. So I was, first of all, I was shook that I was in like a freaking Disney movie, and then it was crazy.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Eva?
I think it was more exciting than anything, just being in this space. It I really didn't expect anything going into it, which I think made the reward like even better, in my opinion. So just being there and being in this space, I think was like the most rewarding part of it all.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Rick,
For
what
me-
about you?
Well, for me, I mean, it was a lifelong dream to animate for Disney. So ever since I was like 9, I wanted to do it. So yeah, I started there when I forget how old I was. Certainly it wasn't 8, but it
Right.
was, I was in my probably early 20s, and I started in 1982. I started at Disney. So it's a long time ago, but yeah, it was like a dream come true for me.
But it's an illustrious time, though. I mean, literally one of the pieces that is a hallmark in my collection is the Little Mermaid, and I know you worked on that one.
Yep.
And for me, that kind of reignited the Disney princess
Yeah.
genre and phenomenon.
Yep.
Were you a fan of the princesses before? Did you have a favorite?
You talking to me?
I'm asking you, Rick. Did you have a favorite princess?
I was not like a princess fan necessarily.
Okay.
These are my favorite princesses right
Hey!
now. But before that, I
Right.
was actually more into the comedy sort of characters like Jiminy Cricket,
Okay.
Characters like that. Lampwick, who else can I think of? Mr. Smee.
The classics.
Just the growing up with those old classic Disney cartoons, those are like my favorite characters. So when I started at Disney and started animating,
Mhm.
those are the types of characters I would animate, was all the sidekicks, all the funny characters. So
But they kind of propel the story through, so that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
They're the ones that add that flavor. LeFou is definitely, I mean, come on, he's amazing.
LeFou and Scuttle and Abu were the main ones. Wilbur from Rescuers Down Under.
Right.
The thing good for me about doing the sidekicks was I could sort of come up with some of my own stuff. Once in a while, I could
Mhm.
embellish what was already written or storyboarded. I could come up with a different idea maybe.
Mhm.
And because he was a sidekick and he's only in there for comedy's sake, there was a lot more freedom to come up with gags and sort of try to, like I said, embellish the characters and stuff. Now, if I had a main character like the Frozen characters, or Ariel, or
Right.
Gaston,
Right.
I mean, they're specifically written in a particular way that there's not a lot of leeway to add or subtract for them. So the sidekicks were fun for me because of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Even Livy, you guys voiced 2 of the newer princesses added to the pantheon. Who were they your favorites, from jump, or did you have previous favorites and maybe now have been replaced? You can like yours better now. I think that's fair.
My favorite has always been, I think honestly still is, Rapunzel, because I've always I feel like I'm very much like her, and she's just my favorite.
I love you say that and you play with your hair. Like, that is so perfect.
That's such a
What about you, Eva?
Cinderella will always be my favorite.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, we were watching Little Mermaid like the other week, and the thingamabob came up, and I told my mom about that. She didn't know about that, Rick, and I was like, yeah, Rick has that in his house, and she was like, what? It's so funny.
That's amazing.
I've got it.
Yeah, but Cinderella is I don't know. There's something about almost the cinematography of it that I feel like is so awesome to see now.
Of course.
I don't know.
They treated those films, the old ones, like feature films. I mean, they were almost like live action. They had art direction, they had cinematography. So when you mention that, I mean, all that went into the making of those classic films, is making them as cinematic as possible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
think that
love
shows.
the art in old Disney movies.
Definitely. Okay, so I got to give a shout out to all the people that are watching right now. We literally have people tuning in from all over the world: Oregon, North Carolina, Scotland, Kansas, California, Texas, literally all over the world. People are out there and they're asking questions already. And I'm going to throw this one out here. Gabe, who's in California, who is age 6, going on 7 though. Okay, don't call him a 6-year-old, going on 7. What is your favorite part about playing Anna and Elsa?
Eva?
Getting just to talk to the fans. I think the whole part of acting is you do it for other people, and it's, you know, storytelling. And so talking to people about it is my favorite thing, I think, about it. And
that's awesome.
I mean, being at the premiere and seeing it for the first time was obviously like really special, and, you know, sitting next to my mom and crying, it was cool. I loved it. I love that stuff.
That's adorable.
I'm a big theater person, so I love like telling stories and stuff and being able to express how I feel about a character or like how I interpret a character to other people and just be able to tell like that character's story. I just think that's like such a fun and wonderful thing to do.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Oh, it's so cool to hear you speak, because I'm like, I know your voices so well. Okay, so Rick, what's the secret sauce to amazing animation? Is it movement? Is it weight? Or is it something else?
It's not the technical stuff actually like that. It's making the character seem real.
Okay. Making
the character, trying to imbue a real personality and make that character live. So when people talk about Ariel or Belle, they don't speak about the drawings or how they move. They talk about that they're real and they relate to them. And as an animator, I really learned through many years that if you can make a character seem real to the audience, then that's the success. And the fact that people talk about these characters like they're really breathing entities,
of course,
you've succeeded in creating a character that lives. And so that's really the goal.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Graham Oddmark, out of Scuttle, LeFou, and Abu, who is your favorite character that you've animated?
I get that. I get asked it all the time, for different reasons. I mean, Scuttle I love because I loved Buddy Hackett's voice,
of course,
and being able to animate to his voice and getting all these inflections and attitudes and stuff. But Abu was great because he was strictly a pantomime character, so it was strictly visual,
right?
And I had to get a lot of his emotion through his face and his body language and his pouting and, you know, things that he would do without talking. He would just grumble and make little noises. So, I mean, it's hard to pick one or the other, but I like both of those the best.
That's awesome.
For those reasons.
I understand. Totally understand. Eva, Livy, we've got a question. This is a very personal, this is hardcore. Edward is cool 93 wants to know, do you ever get tired of hearing Let It Go?
I haven't heard it in a long time, so I don't think I ever get tired of it.
Let's play it right now. Why don't we play it right now?
We're gonna sing it right now. We've got our lawyers on deck, so it's fine. We should be good. We should be good.
Now, like hearing it so much when I was younger, I wasn't like very like musically like person, I guess, so I didn't like understand it. But like now that I've like gone into music a little bit, like I kind of understand like how cool it is and like how actually like genius the song was.
Of course. Now, I would definitely say that Frozen is a pop culture phenomenon, especially when like dissecting the music is popping up in stuff like Deadpool's sequel. Have you seen Deadpool 2?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure, like, you're like, no, I've never seen that movie. What kind of person do you think I am? But how cool was it to have, you know, anything that you were a part of be referenced in another movie?
It was really weird. I remember because my dad loves Deadpool and I hadn't seen the second one, and he was like, he says, do you want to build a snowman like twice? And I was like, what?
He does. He makes a very valid observation about the potential, you know, song quality and its reference to something else. But, you know, that happens. Jeannie 4 wants to know, how do you guys get into voice acting?
I got a voice over audition, and it was to dub for a Spanish movie, and it was my first voiceover audition, and I booked it, and then I just kept going from there. But with Frozen, I started out doing scratch work for it, which is when they're writing and they just want to get an idea for how the words sound and things like that. So that's how I got involved with Frozen.
That's cool.
Frozen was my first voiceover audition, so that was really new for me. Funny thing, one of the main reasons that I got it is because at the time, my parents didn't know this. It was blatantly obvious. But they didn't know that I couldn't say my R's correctly. Like every single R was a W. So they thought that was cute and memorable or whatever. So that was like a big reason why I got the role, because they thought I was cute because I couldn't speak.
I remember when
that.
I asked who was gonna play young Anna, and Jennifer Lee, the director, she's like, "Oh, we found this super cute girl, and she like has this thing with like her W's and her R's, and it's just super cute."
That's adorable.
That was the first time I ever heard about Livy. That was the first thing that he told me.
Those secret sauce things, man. Those are the things. So little kids, if you don't do your R's correctly, you never know there's a career in that. So don't lose it.
Only for a period of time. You can't do it into adulthood.
That's true. That's very true. That's very, very true. Rick, so Dylan O'Neill wants to know, they love the classic movie monster bedsheet that you got, the comfort that you got. And they want to know, are you a big Universal horror fan?
I'm a huge Universal horror fan. Huge.
That's awesome.
I mean, seriously, I have a lot of the movies on 16 millimeter, the full features.
Oh,
I have some of the posters. Since I was really little, like 5 years old, I was into the Universal monster movies.
That's awesome. Who was your favorite? Dracula, Invisible Man?
Well, the Invisible Man's kind of almost not a really monster. You know, he only shows up when he wants to.
Also true.
I think I like the Wolfman the best.
Nice.
Because he's two different people. He's a human guy and he's a monster. And I like the conflict of the two things.
I love it. I was always a Creature of the Black Lagoon guy.
Oh, me too. I met the guy who played the creature from the Black Lagoon, Ben Chapman. He's the great. I mean, he passed away, but he was
yes.
He was the greatest guy.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I just kind of geeked out just a little bit. That was a. Let me bring it back.
With my kids, and he was a wonderful.
Wow. Oh my God, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Okay, so Eva, Livy, when did you know that Frozen was as crazy of a phenomenon as it's become?
Probably when I saw toys, like in Target.
Yeah.
Like, because you like grow up buying like Barbies, and you go through the aisles and see all that stuff. So that was probably one of the things, I think. And
then like everybody was talking about it when it came out. Like, I mean, we knew it was gonna be pretty good, but like we didn't know it was gonna like blow up. And we were like,
everywhere.
When you start seeing, like, for Little Mermaid, that was the first film that became a pop culture thing. When you start seeing little kids on the street with backpacks and things like that with Little Mermaid on, then you realize it's beyond an animation fan audience. It's like now it's pop culture. Like everybody knows about it and is celebrating it.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of when you really know it's really reached a lot of people.
I'm just saying, I will start a party off by singing Under the Sea right now. So that's, that song pops. Scuttle's singing actually on Kiss the Girl is one of my favorites.
I did all of him in that sequence.
Oh my God. That was incredible.
Clears his throat and
yes.
Loops around the tree and all that silly stuff. That's just making stuff up,
Oh my God. That's got to be incredible to actually, because I'm sure there's some physical acting that you do in order to master and nail the animation. Are you playing around in the mirror a lot when you do those things?
I mean, to get expressions and stuff, I'll look in the mirror to get facial expressions, but sometimes if it's a full body thing, I might have a full length mirror. I like to look at myself in the mirror anyway, so it's an experience. But yeah, you get your body attitude and how it looks and sometimes, but a lot of times it's just drawing and just coming up with funny looking drawings. But yeah, that's the like freedom I was talking about, just coming up with funny bits that he could do as he's singing that song.
That's amazing. I love it. I just got to give another shout out. So our range has expanded. We've got folks in Wisconsin, the UK, New Jersey, and Israel also tuning in. So literally pulling in people from all over the place. Shannon Grace says, their favorite character of Rick's is Gurgi from the Black Cauldron, although they do love Abu as well. So, I mean, I kind of get that. They wants to know, what was it like working on Disney's Black Sheep film and making the transition?
That's a nice term for it. Not the language anyway. That was the first. I was hired at Disney for the Black Cauldron. I wasn't a full-fledged animator yet, so I worked on a few different things. I worked under Mike Gabriel, who was the main animator, who became a director. So I did whatever character he was doing, but I did a lot of Gurgi, assisted him on Gurgi. And Gurgi was to me, he was the most fun character in that movie because he was very cartoony.
Right.
He was real cute, and so he's kind of like a classic classic cute sidekick. So he was awesome. He was fun to do too.
That is awesome. Okay, so ladies, you kind of gave us a peek behind the curtain by saying that you didn't actually meet until the premiere, which is mind blowing because the interaction that your characters have, I would have assumed that you guys knew each other for forever, which is really just a testament to your talent. What was it like to actually record? Was it, strictly a solo thing, or did you have other people to work with?
It was pretty solo. They have like the directors and stuff like across the glass, and they worked with us a lot. You'd say a line, they'd have you say a different way. They were very nice. It was very much a family. But I couldn't laugh on command because I was a baby and I didn't know voiceover. So they were like, your grandma, she's gonna go back there and she's gonna tickle you. And that's how we got the laugh. So
that's amazing.
I have like the same story. That's like the same thing. Because Jennifer Lee and Chris Buck, they were like on the other side of my mic. They were in the booth with me, and Jen got up and she started tickling me because it was only like my second or third voiceover job. And so when they're like, okay, you can laugh into the mic now, and I was like, what
does that mean?
Yeah. But I've never, I don't know, on our last episode of Shimmer and Shine, we all got to record together, which was super fun. But other than that, I don't think I've ever recorded with anyone else for a voiceover job.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What is the most quoted line from Frozen that you guys hear?
I mean, sometimes my friends are just like, go away.
And you're like, okay, bye. No, I get that. As I told you before, my daughter, she's 3. And because of her, I literally watch Frozen almost every day. And as I just showed Livy, she's supposed to be like laying down right now, but she literally has taken so much language and grown so much from watching this movie that she won't go to sleep because the sky is awake. So that's like her thing. So when you hear things like that, does that like kind of like warm your heart to know that you impact people almost generationally? I mean, because like I said, she's 3 now, and this will be something that she will show, presumably her children, and they might say the same thing to her, which I'll laugh.
It's so cute. I hear you on a Middle Snowmen all the time. And actually the other day I was in class and something, I don't know, and somebody just goes, Livy, let it go. And I was like, all right.
Oh yeah. Like whenever I'm upset about something, they're just like, just let it go, Eva.
And you're like,
Like you just made me more mad.
Now, yeah, being young actresses, how is that, dealing with the stress, the strain even of being, particularly, famous or a celebrity, but still trying to maintain a sense of a normal life? Is that difficult?
I still live in Ohio.
Hey,
so
shout out to
I go to public school. I'm in Ohio. It's pretty chill. For like a minute in like middle school, it was kind of, or like in like 3rd grade, I had like a little posse. But now everybody's really chill about it. And I'll like every once in a while I'll get a question like, you're that one kid that was in a movie, right? And I'm like, yeah.
I was like, yeah, I was. Have you ever had like the school bust out Frozen for like an in-school movie thing and you're just like, I'm not watching this?
I've had a teacher show in Spanish one. She showed Let It Go in Spanish.
That's amazing. That's amazing. What about you, Eva? Anything like that?
I mean, Liv and I both go to normal school. So we still, like, we don't homeschool or like anything like that, so we have lives outside of, acting. Acting is taking in from your normal life, right. Those experiences. So that's something that's really important to both of us, I think.
That's awesome. I love that balance. That's so perfect. Rick, Jeannie4 wants to know, early in your art career, who were some of your favorite animators?
My favorite animators, let's see. Growing up, I loved the Warner Brothers cartoons a lot. So I loved Bob Clampett, Chuck Jones. I loved Charles Schultz, who was not animating, but I met him.
Yes.
Got to be friends with him. And he was very instrumental in my early career.
Oh, man.
By introducing me to animation, people like Bill Melendez and people like that. My heroes are, as far as just animators, are like the 9 Old Men from Disney. Some people don't know what I'm talking about when I say the 9 Old Men, but they were there from Snow White all the way into the 60s and early 70s.
Right.
And John Lounsbury in particular is my favorite of the 9 Old Men. And I used to Xerox his drawings. I'd go to the research library and grab all his scenes with all, they still had all the drawings, and I'd Xerox them all. I still have a bunch of them. But I just studying those guys who came before me, and they'd lecture to us. They were still alive at the time. a lot of them would come into the studio and lecture to us and give us their philosophy and how we can become better animators, and what a Disney animator was like. What is it about Disney that's different from other studios, and what do we do in our films that's different? And that was really, really important to take seriously. Hey man, there's Walt Disney's name at the beginning of the film, and what that means, and what and that legacy, and how important it is for us to continue that on. So that was huge for me.
That's amazing.
But so those are some of the people that really excited me, and still do. I still look at this stuff every day. I still get inspired every day by looking at some of the older stuff.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. Just to kind of, delve back into the process of things though, when it comes to animation, there's a lot of people that don't really understand the different parts and pieces. So what exactly was your claim to fame? Are you talking keyframes, or are you doing in-betweens, all of the above? What all did you do?
As an animator, I did most of the drawings. I mean, in rough form. I'm going to show you this. This is not a Disney thing, but it's kind of starts like this on paper. Okay. And I just, can you see that?
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, this is kind of how it starts. It just starts with rough drawings, and I listen to the dialogue, and I don't do a lot on paper anymore, but I work digitally, but I still draw.
Right.
So I do quite a bit of the drawings, the initial drawings myself. And then I'd have, when I was at Disney, I had an assistant that would follow me up and do some of the in-between drawings, and then clean up my drawings and make them really, really nice with one line.
Okay.
And then of course they're colored from that point. But that's kind of a very short answer to the sort of the process.
Understandable. I mean, because animation is big. Yeah. I was gonna say that's a huge, like you said, there's a lot of people at work here. On some of your projects, what's the average crew size that you've worked with?
Wow, when we did The Great Mouse Detective, we had like 15 animators. 15, wow. That's it. 15. And by the time we were doing like Aladdin, it was like 50. Now
that's insane.
Because it's mostly CG now, the crews are, I think the size differs. But I mean, our crew just got bigger and bigger and bigger because we had to turn out these films as they were making so much money, and the management wanted us to do more of them. We had to hire more and more people. So I think it lost a little, you don't do as much for each film because there's a lot more animators to work on them to get them done faster. So you lose a little bit of that, like a little bit of ownership, because you're spread a little bit more thin that way.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's grown. It's really, really grown over the
years.
That's
incredible. Eva, Livy, okay, again, personal question. Do you like building snowmen? This is such a, key thing for your characters. Do you like building snowmen? Is that something that you're good at?
I don't think I've ever had like a genuinely successful one, because we
What?
have the really powdery snow here all the time.
That is true.
You can't do anything with it.
What about you, Eva? Do you get to build snowmen?
We live in LA. We don't have snow.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But I mean, I'm from Nebraska, so I was born in Nebraska, and I lived in Indiana for 6 years. So yes, I have built my snowman.
Do people sing that song to you guys at all?
But
a little bit.
I don't get too much of that.
No, you don't get that too much? Wow, that's so crazy. Because again, as part of the opener to Frozen, it's one of the first songs that we hear, and it really kind of illustrates, you guys showcase. But is that you singing?
Who doesn't sing, so.
Yeah.
No singing. Would you be open to it now?
Would I sing now?
Yeah. Would you do it now?
No.
I mean, like not right now, but like as a career piece, if you had to sing for a role, would you do that?
I mean, we had to sing for Shimmer and Shine for dolls and stuff. So,
right.
I mean, I have. So
I love that. Now, obviously, doing voice work is a very dedicated form of acting. How much does it differ from doing live action or theatrical stuff?
It's definitely really different. Like, you're a little bit, like, there's nobody else in there with you. It's very chill. Nobody can see you. And you're just kind of like going over the lines, keep on going. And you can have the script right in front of you, where like theater, if you mess up, it's over. You got to improv your way out of it.
Keep going. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you get to wear slippers. I've done that for, Shimmer stuff. We had to do it was like a birthday message thing for the Nick Jr. website. And so I had like a 8-hour session of just like saying like 20,000 names in my super voice. So I wore slippers the second day, and like, I never sit down when I do voiceover, but I'm like, I'm gonna sit down this time. So that's one of the differences, but it's still the same like process for the character.
Kind of build and focus and see what it is. Now, obviously, you guys were rather young when you got into the Frozen side of things. So how much of the understanding of building character was yours versus the direction that they were trying to kind of push you in?
I feel like what I built the character on was just kind of me, because at the time I didn't have like methods of like acting and like building a character. I was just kind of saying things and just being myself, and they would just kind of like add on to that. So it was just very much like the innocent, small, like high-pitched voice.
With the rolled R's. I got it. That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Same thing for you, Eva?
Yeah, I agree. When I did it, I was like 9, 10, and so I didn't have like a process really. It was just what I thought it was, and it's not like you just like say it, but you kind of do in a way. It's not like you just say it like flat and that's what it is.
Right.
There's a little bit more, but it's not like I had to do like anything fancy or crazy. It was a lot of just bringing myself to it.
Okay. No, that's cool. Hannah Brill wants to know, have you been to the parks, and what's it like to see the scenes and characters come to life in the theme parks? I guess that could go for everybody. So whoever wants to jump in first on that one. Have you been to Disney World or Land?
I can only remember when I went to Disneyland when Aladdin came out. They did have, because my characters are always the sidekick secondary,
right?
So they didn't have an Abu running around the park.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been cool, but they did have a parade. I also animated the elephant. When Abu turns into the elephant, I also did all that.
Right.
So I got to see the elephant in the parade. Like, it had this gigantic Abu elephant, and whenever they have the parades, I'd go the other direction because I just wanted to go on their rides, and I didn't want to stop. I hated when they block everything off and you can't walk because they have a parade. So I'm like, the parade. So I was kind of waiting in line for a ride, and the parade came by, and there was the elephant, and I just flipped out like a little kid, like, oh my God, there's it. And here I am, like, however old I was at the time, just acting like a little kid. But that's the only thing I can remember where there was actually one of my characters at the
That's
park.
amazing. That's the magic of Disney, though. So I totally co-sign that. Ladies, have you been to the parks and been able to see, live action iterations of Anna or Elsa?
It's really, like, I've seen a little bit. I mean, the lines are always very long.
Yes, they are.
But whenever I do see them, it's really interesting and just weird, like, and they always have like different costumes. I love like the different costumes. I think that's so interesting. But and I've never been on like the ride. I've just seen videos of it, and every time it's like a surreal experience. But no, I've never been on the Frozen ride.
Wow, we got to change that. Okay, like we need like VIP access. Shut it down. The princesses want to get on the ride. Like, make that happen.
Wait,
Eva, have you done
Frozen ride?
Yeah, Disney World. It's like a little boat.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yep. Okay, everybody, tweet this out right now. We need VIP access. Shut the park down. The princesses are coming.
We're out of the loop.
Yeah. No, that's kind of cool.